Your Side of the World and Mine, Episode 8 of Elite Season 5, starts with Ari arriving to see Reeb and Samuel late at night. She speaks to Samuel in confidence. With Samu now in possession of the SIM card and enough evidence to put her father away, she's leaving it up to him to decide what to do. She kisses him on the cheek and leaves him to his thoughts. Reeb, meanwhile, reminds Samu that Benjamin likens him to a pebble on his shoe, something he'll tolerate for a while before throwing him to the curb. What happens with Isadora and Cayetana? At school the next day, Ivan and Philip are both hazy over what happened in Ibiza. Or so they say anyway. Ivan remembers bits and pieces, while Isadora is very clearly traumatized over what happened to her. Given Philip's history, he's incredibly worried that he may have done something to Isadora. At school, Ivan speaks to Patrick and breaks the news that he's moving out to Qatar with his dad. Patrick is torn up and heads into the showers alone. Isadora also heads to the showers, and as she begins bleeding, it points toward the unthinkable happening. Kay shows up and talks from behind the wall, promising that she's there for Isadora. She's no longer the cleaner at school either, admitting she was fired for snooping about last episode. However, she promises Isadora that her offer of kindness doesn't have an expiration date on. She can come to her for help and to vent at any time. When she leaves, Isadora breaks down into tears. What happened in Ibiza? The whole incident with Isadora was filmed, and the boy who did so shows off the video to Philip and Ivan. Within this, Ivan stumbled over and tried to stop the three boys, telling them to back off, but he ended up collapsing on the floor. Philip too passes out as he crawls across the floor trying to get to Isadora. The three boys presumably have their way with Isadora. When Philip lashes out, the boy throws a pretty nasty joke his way about the past, throwing shade at his sexual assault allegation. Naturally, Philip smacks the kids across the face for it. Do Cruz and Ivan leave for Qatar? That night, Philip finally embraces his true feelings and speaks to Isadora, admitting that he really does care about her. He likens her to his princess and the pair kiss, embracing one another as thunder rumbles ominously in the sky. Meanwhile, Cruz holds a meeting with Patrick and his son. He talks about his feelings and how he can't let this continue any longer. He believes Ivan should be able to experience what he hasn't, and makes a big decision. They're not going to Qatar after all. Cruz wants his son to be happy and urges him to follow his heart and chase down Patrick. Samuel heads to the police station, but Benjamin rings, pleading with him to talk in person before handing over the evidence. Because of their past, Samuel agrees. Benjamin tells Ari afterwards that he wants to talk to Samu in private. What happens to Samu? Who tries to kill him? That evening, Benjamin tries to pay Samu off. He's got him a scholarship to a business school at Oxford. Tuition, accommodation, etc. is all paid for, along with €3,000 per month as well. In exchange for all this though, Samuel would need to hand over the SIM card and stay quiet about his ties with Armando. Samu refuses. In fact, he snubs the whole offer and decides to leave. Only, in doing so, Benjamin wrestles the bag off him, and he tumbles into the water, smacking the side of his head hard on the side of the pool. Blood dribbles out into the swimming pool as Benjamin watches on in horror. Patrick shows up and sees what's happened, pulling Samu out the water. Benjamin tells his son that they're in this together. Patrick inevitably calls everyone to let them know what's happened, with Benjamin deciding to just dump him outside the hospital and leave. Is Samuel actually dead? When Benjamin heads back inside, it turns out Samuel is still alive. He's slightly delirious, but he makes it back to his feet and admits that Benjamin was the one responsible for what happened. Oh, so he's not dead after all then. The SIM card happens to be in the water though, as Reed notices it before turning her attention back to Benjamin. She knocks him down as Mencha steps in to stop her. How does Elite Season 5 end? The police eventually show up and arrest Benjamin, taking him away in handcuffs. Ivan shows up and stands by Patrick's side as he sees his father taken away. As Patrick sobs, so too does Ari as Mencha tries to comfort her. Omar and Reeb walk away. So Elite Season 5 bows out with a rather obvious conclusion to the season, which is a real shame. We see that Benjamin is the one responsible for what happened to Samu and he didn't actually die after all. So for the second time during this show's run, Samuel isn't dead? That's a shame, and it actually diminishes the big reveal at the end of episode 4 too. In the end, the finale is rather tepid and unlike the earlier seasons, where there were numerous suspects and a more tightly constructed mystery, this one is very straightforward from start to finish. There was definitely potential with this for a nice little twist at the end, but the obvious resolution and rushed subplots leave a lot to be desired. Now, given the show has already been renewed for season 6, then it's at least somewhat obvious that the plot lines here will bleed across to next year's venture, but what's your pales in comparison to the early seasons of this show? Season 5 isn't bad, but it's not particularly great either. Let's hope season 6 steps it up a gear.